There is one thing that if you were to actually do way more of, you would be making so much more money. And I will give you the next 3 seconds to actually guess what it is in the comments. And if you get it right, I will personally send a cookie to your house. It's crazy what happens once you actually start to talk about cookies because your YouTube retention just completely skyrockets. But besides the point, the thing that I'm talking about is lying, but not just any type of lie. We are talking about a specific type of lie, a programmed lie, otherwise known as propaganda. Propaganda is your best friend if you are looking to stand out amongst your competitors. The best definition of marketing that I have come across is Seth Godin's definition, and that is marketing is telling a story which correlates to somebody's worldview. And propaganda is the engineered lie that your audience needs to believe from you in order to buy from you. And trust me, this isn't just about business, guys. This is exactly what corporations do, what individuals do, what politicians do, even what actual countries are doing. Think about the US versus the Soviet Union. The amount of dollars that these governments are spending on propaganda is absolutely ridiculous. So here's exactly what I want to show you today. How you can create a lie so good that it literally becomes a truth. And once your audience believes this truth, they will buy from you. So we're gonna do an exercise together. After you answer these 6 questions right here, you're gonna walk away with a piece of propaganda that you will then take into every single type of content that you create. It should include this one truth or propaganda at every single level. The objective of the first question is to define the core conviction that you want to create. So make sure that your core conviction is directly linked to your product, because if you can do that, then you can then sell them on the first half of the dream. So the first question that I want you to ask yourself is, what belief do you want your audience to hold as an unshakable truth? One of my clients is a fitness coach, and one of the truths that we came up with for his own propaganda campaign is that most people, most 9-to-5ers believe that they need to do crazy amounts of hours in the gym, and they also need to do crazy amounts of working out. So what we decided was that we would build the foundation of this propaganda machine by saying that 9-to-5ers can reach their best shape while only working out for 3 to 4 hours a week. So this is one truth that we want to implant within our audience's mind. What is your belief? Awesome. Now that you have that one shakable truth that you want to implant within the mind of your audience, let's move on to their current belief landscape. So they're probably believing something that is keeping them stuck, especially around this one truth that you want to go ahead and implant within their minds. So just taking from the fitness example, they believe they need to do 6, 7, 8 hours in the gym every single week, that they need to eat thousands and thousands of calories, that they need to be doing crazy amounts of workout that they don't have the mobility or the range for. So the truth is that you can reach your second prime without the second part, which is doing all these crazy things, the workout, all this nutrition planning, all these different crazy exercises. In regards to you, what is your audience's current belief landscape? And what is it that helps keep them stuck exactly where they are? The third question for you to consider within your propaganda campaign is the strength of the belief that they have that is holding them back. The thing that we answered in question number 2, how strong is that belief from 1 all the way till 10? If we're talking about something that has to do with, health, has to do with sex, has to do with stuff that's on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the strength of the belief is likely going to be stronger because there's a lot of societal programming around those core things. So in the case of health, this right here is actually pretty strong. This belief, if we had to give it a gut measurement, would probably be at least a 7 or maybe an 8. Because of the fact that they do believe this, they aren't working out. Because of the fact that they do believe this, they aren't taking their health seriously and they're letting themselves go. Ask yourself the question, what is the strength of the belief that my audience has that is keeping them stuck? Now you're making incredible progress. Next, let's identify the psychological lever that we are going to pull in order to make this propaganda campaign hit even harder. If you don't know what the psychological levers are, these are them. You have fear, you have hope, you have belonging, you have identity, you have authority, you have scarcity, and you have inevitability. So when you think about something from the perspective of a fitness coach using a fitness offer, one lever that we pull on is actually the lever of fear. What will happen if you continue to neglect your health? Well, for example, you might not be able to pick up your kids. You might not, for example, be able to do simple tasks around the house that only you as the father of the house or the mother of the house can do. So if you play on the psychological lever and you embed it within your propaganda campaign, it will hit that much harder. So remember, fear, hope, identity, belonging, authority, and inevitability. Choose one of these ones to target as your psychological lever and pull it whenever you can. Beautiful. Now we have the foundations of what we need in order to engineer our very own propaganda statement. And one thing I want you to focus on is making this statement simple, short, and repeatable. Something that feels universal. If you remember in the beginning when I was talking to you about Seth Godin's definition of marketing, a story which correlates with somebody's worldview, this truth that you want to embed as your propaganda machine, you want to make sure that it also correlates back to that story that your ideal client is telling themselves in their head. So for example, people who are in their 30s and their 40s, because of the society that we live in, everybody wants to be healthy. So this is something which is naturally going to correlate with them. It's going to kind of shock them at first, but that's okay. But once we start to nurture them and once we start to provide them reasons and give them actual proof that this can work, they will start to believe it. So make sure that your propaganda statement is something that's short, it's repeatable, it feels universal. In this example, we're going to go with 9-to-5ers can reclaim their health only working out 3 to 4 hours a week. Something that's short, easy, and kind of is like a little bit controversial. But think about yours. And the last step to this entire process is to think about your bridge to solution. There's two things that you want to consider whenever you are making a bridge to solution. The first things that you want to consider is, number one, is it easily identifiable, right? If somebody was to come into my ecosystem, right, and they were to get to experience, right, the different types of content that I create, can they easily identify the one underlying truth that is in the middle of everything that I do? And the second thing is that truth something that they can very easily take action on, right? Do they have a pathway that their curiosity can lead them to? Also, you want to consider the medium of your delivery. So knowing who your ideal audience is and knowing what they consume and how they consume is going to allow you to really take advantage of putting what they want in front of them as easily as possible. And now at the end of this entire thing, you have your very own propaganda campaign. Congratulations. Woo! Now, here's the thing. Once you finally filled out this exercise, you're going to find out that propaganda isn't something that is shady or manipulative. It's pretty much the skill of identifying one truth that the audience needs to believe in order to buy from you. But the thing about propaganda, which is so beautiful, is that if you do this right, you will actually stand out as a thought leader in the space. By doubling down on one simple truth, you actually remove yourself from the amount of competition that you face as an online business owner. The reason why most people are stuck is because they're clinging onto these old and outdated beliefs, and all they need is a refresh. And unless you shake those beliefs and replace them with an even stronger truth, you will never stand out and people will never buy from you. So chances are, if you enjoyed this video, then I have a really good feeling that you're gonna enjoy this video right here. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and check out the next video where we are going to discuss the most underutilized part of online business, of content creation, of advertising, and of marketing: your messaging.